Birthday party was good last night. Getting a late start though. I was out riding four-wheelers with Kinsey. So, I'm gonna get it cleaned up here a little bit. Put some of this stuff away. Keep my templates down here out of the way for now. And then, break the welder out. Tack these guys together. Weld this up. And then, get some of this stuff prepped, to get going on it. So, start by cleaning up here. Shouldn't have left my Sharpie out last night either. Now it's dry. Wonderful. That was my new one. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All good though. Let's get cleaned up and get started on this. All right, that's all welded up. Letting that cool, and then I'm gonna hit it with the grinder. And then I got these guys welded together so I can take them over to the table grinder and make them all perfect. So I think the next thing I'm going to work on is I have this carrier here. I think I'm going to use the setup bearings, and just check them with the setup bearings. Check my shims. I mean, this was the factory one, so it should go right back in without any issues. But just check them, make sure I got the right shims for that. Probably put it in, run a pattern, make sure it looks good. And then, actually, I'll probably just, actually, before I do that, I think I'm going to check the alignment. I'll just do that, because then I can set the bar, torque everything down, just zip the bar off, and throw that out of the way for right now. And then once I get this new bearings pressed onto that carrier, it's good to go. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my Grya line tool, which I can't film while I'm doing this for you, but we have the Grya line, and I'm pretty sure I can make this work because it just uses reference points. So we'll hit the wheels in the back for a straight reference, and then I'll come up here and try it right on the knuckles and see where we're at, and kind of go from there. So we'll move this out of the way, and then let's see where we're at with the alignment. So I just finished using the Grya line tool, and I got it all where it says it's straight. Obviously, I can't go take it down the road right now to check it all, but I think we're good. Steering wheel's facing the right way now. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten all them down, just lock them down. I got to figure the caster out. I'm probably going to want to add a little bit more caster to this thing. I'm pretty much running it all flat right now. It might be 5 degrees on that pinion angle, but see, I don't know what these are set for from the factory. Kind of looks like it might be, I think, positive caster, and it wouldn't be negative if I'm remembering right. So, we'll check all that once I get the wheels on it. But, because that would be Death Wobble City there. So, I guess I'm going to lock them nuts down and then grind these down. Then I'll lift it back up. Something else that I'm fighting, and I don't know what's going on with this. This transfer case is just shifting like dog poop. So the shifter broke again. I was playing with it here. There's just nothing on it. I mean, and the cable, the linkage is not bound up. It's almost like it's in the transfer case. So, I don't know. I'm going to go look at it, make sure something's not binding on the linkage or the linkage isn't bent on the actual transfer case. That was my next thought, is because everything was in and out, and maybe I bent the shift linkage and didn't even realize it. So I'm going to check all that out. And then if not, I don't know. I mean, I guess it could be an internal issue with the transfer case. I haven't really tried four-wheel drive in it yet. That would suck. So, I don't know. I'm going to lock all these nuts down and then get grinding on this stuff. All right, I got everything ground down. I made these all exactly the same, so they're perfect for that. So now I'm going to tack everything in, check it to make sure it stays square, and then I'm going to weld everything. And then probably let it cool and grind it all down so it looks, like we paid some decent money for a piece. Kind of go from there then. It's looking good though. I'm liking it. I until I get everything burned in, it's going to be really nice. So let's get these gussets burned in. We got to fill these in. Let's get everything sort of done here on it. I was also working on this. I got the gear in here. I got to check Backlash and run a pattern, but that feels like 6 thou, which is what we were going for. It's spec on Dana gears in these. So, and then I got this crossbar line, took that off, put it over there for now. This one's all torqued in, tightened down. So that one's good to go. The only other thing I really need to figure out is the steering stabilizer. I got to order one of them. I'm going to wait on that for a little bit. So we should be able to drive it without one, just no highway. And then I got to get this cover cleaned up and ready to be RTV'd on here. So I popped this connector or the linkage back on. Nothing looks messed up on this shifter up there. I mean, you can't really see it, I guess. You kind of can. Anyways, nothing looks really messed up on it, so I'm not sure. I'm wondering if these things just don't shift smooth when they're not running, maybe? I don't know. It shouldn't really matter, I wouldn't think. So I'm gonna at least get it running and run it up and down the driveway and see if I can get it to loosen up. If not, I guess I'm stuck with something wrong with that transfer case. I mean, the fluid wasn't great looking that came out, but there was no metal. It didn't look destroyed. So it's a little odd, but I don't know. I mean, maybe this guy's got problems with it, or hard to say. So let's get it running at least. I mean, my wife can at least drive it. If it's not able to be off-roaded, at least she can drive the thing. So let's get welding on this stuff. All welded. And they're toasty warm. You could cook a marshmallow on them. So I'm gonna let them cool, and then I'm gonna just rip a grinder over them, clean them up, make them look nice. I'm not, gonna try to make them look perfect, but we'll clean them up a little bit once they cool. But they are hot, hot, hot. So roll this thing out of the way. Slap them over here. And then I'm going to go up and grab something to drink from up in the house. Probably come back down, check this, run a pattern. And then, I don't know. I'd like to hopefully my nuts for this show up and I can get this heat shield back up in here and start putting the muffler and stuff back together. Get my clamp on this guy. And I'll check my checklist. There's an exhaust pipe missing. Oops, right here. And then this one here needs tightened up. I got to pull this cross member off again once I get it all down on the ground. Its drive shaft is hitting right here, and this needs clearanced, so at full droop. So, can't quite get that off the way I have it jacked up here. Well, I might be able to. I guess it is good. So maybe we'll pull that off. I have it kind of marked and get that clearance so we can get that up in there. And then, yeah. I don't know. It's coming along. I got a couple hours yet I can spend down here today. Trying to get this all done so we can get the trailer in here, replace the wheel bearings on that, and then my wife bought one of them golf carts for camping. So, yeah, I'm gonna go grab something to drink and then come back down here and set these gears. So I got these ground down and clamped up here. I like them. So basically what I figured out was I have 22 inches from here to here, and I want some of that tube to bear on where this angle is, because obviously I'm having to angle out of the way of the bolt mounts here. And when you're winching, because you're stuck, I mean, you don't want to bend any of this stuff, so you want it braced nice. And the fog lights are going to pocket in here, so I can't really gusset much more than what I did here. So basically that bar is going to mount behind here, so you're pulling loads just trying to yank all this through the bumper. So it's going to really index on these bumper mounts here, which they're welded on, they're pretty decent. I'm debating if I should go when I get this all done and add another mount. I mean, there's some holes here, like back here. I could put a mount to it somehow, probably, and throw another mount in. I mean, the factory winch plate that you add to this kind of does the same thing, though. It just comes off of these horns here. And I thought about going on front, but then you're putting all that load on the bolts. This is sort of catching it with the plate here. So, I don't know. I mean, you know, it's heavy, but it's not like a competition rig or something. See, in the factory one, it uses a piece that comes in right here, if you see, and you bolt into that, which was kind of, I could probably make something like that. It'd be a little weird to get these bolted in then. I just don't know if you need it or not either, you know? I mean, you're kind of, I don't know, you're kind of held captive with all this stuff. It's all kind of one big cohesive piece. I don't know. I guess you could still tear it out. Well, anyways, for this exact moment, I'm going to get two 19 3/4 inch pieces of tube cut. That'll allow me to leave space for a center here. And then I got to measure, I guess, to get that in. If I got to do a whole bunch of math, but figure that out. And I'm not 100%. I'm hoping this is even thick enough would be my next problem, you know what I mean? Because we need to come through the front there. And if it's not, I'm going to have to plate and extend this, which I can do. This tube here is literally exactly the same stuff, so we can plate it on all the corners and extend it. It's just one more spot for a failure I really didn't want to have to worry about. Because the problem is, if you look here, I think we're getting real close to not having enough room. So we'll do some math here and figure out what our through the middle measurement is on that and our center line, but I think we're going to have to extend it in. You know, it is what it is. So, I guess let's start by, we'll get two of these cut to 9 3/4. And then, I can clamp them on here, leave my space, and figure out some math on this then. Figure out what all that works out to. So let's do that and see where we're at. Real quick, I just wanted to show you, checking this backlash here. So we're zeroed out. 6 0 6 0. That's beautiful. So I'm gonna paint it up, run a pattern real quick and check it, but I think we're good. If that's the case, I'm just gonna leave this in here and slap the cover on just to keep the dust out of it. And then lower this thing back down and work on the bumper for right now. But yeah, just wanted to interrupt and show you that. All right, I ran my pattern. I'll show you guys that. I think that looks pretty good. I'm happy with that. Then I cut these out, 9 3/4 on either side. Made a little 2-inch spacer there. And then what I'm gonna do is I'll weld all this fully and then grind it down and do a 45 gusset here in the middle on either side, and then plate this whole thing, and they'll have 45s here. And then I'll probably make a plate here and here just to carry that load all really nice through that center section here, because there's nothing kind of in the way. Because then, I mean, it should be fine. And then I'll strap the back here and weld that too, where I'm doing that. So that should make it just, I mean, as strong as I'm going to be able to make it, I'll put it that way. So yeah, that's working out. I'll probably 45 these just to make it look nice when it's all installed and give a little bit more room back here for where you got to get in and tighten these bolts up here. I mean, if that's 45 up there, oops, that would be nice. So I'll probably do that too. But I think for right now, what I'm going to do is just throw some tacks on here to hold this together, and probably throw a tack here that I can grind off, and a tack here And then I can clamp this up here and figure out what I'm doing with that. If it all looks good and straight and I like it, I can Sharpie where I need to trim the plates down so it all matches nice. And then I'll mark my holes I need to drill. And then I'll start screwing with this. So I'm going to throw that cover on there for right now so I don't get any dirt in there. And then I'll probably, actually, before I lower it down, I'll probably just grab that mount off of there that needs trimmed. And then bust the welder out and start screwing with this. So I've got to go back up to the house for the night. I'm getting summonsed, but this is how far I made it. I got the back here clearanced for it to fit in. I'm going to do a little bit more trimming work. There's like a flange that, you know, on this piece here, and that needs to clear, but it's looking good. And then underneath here, you can kind of see I got to finish clearancing that, and then that'll poke through, but I think our depth's going to be like dang near perfect. I'll have to figure out how I'm going to bolt this thing in here. I'll have to get the winch carrier and look at that. I'm hoping that'll, you know, slide in here real nice. I left this bigger. So it should, you know, slide in here and I can just drill a different bolt hole. I don't know, back here somewhere, and then use a bolt, come up through with a bolt and a nut on top here. You don't have it thread in. So, and then I'll plate all this and tie it all together real good once I get that part figured out. But no, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy with it. These need trimmed a little bit too. I think it bugs me to leave something like this. So I'll have to figure all that out. But it's definitely some tight packaging, but it's gonna look nice, I think, when it's all finished. And then, like I said, the way that's sitting, I'm gonna plate back here a section that comes off of that too, so it's all sort of tied together. So this will come up and here on this side and have a plate section, and then there'll be a bar that comes up to hold our lights, off-road lights. But I'll wait to do that until I get the winch set in there, and I know how high to make that. So I'm gonna call it quits for tonight. Not even gonna clean up because we'll be back down here making a mess. I don't know, probably Wednesday. The thing that sucks is I had a busy week, and yeah, I had a busy week, and I don't know when I'm gonna get down here next to work on this thing. But you guys won't notice that. And the bearings are coming in, I think, Tuesday. So if I can shoot down here Tuesday and get them in, that would be cool. Throw that in, finish that diff up, and then slap all this back together. At least then I can move it again, even without the bumper on the front. So, I don't know. I mean, kind of is what it is. I'll grab my jacket over here. So, I'll keep filming.